You shark do. Hello, everybody. I am Haley Gray, and just when I get goofy and I don't expect StreamYard to go live, it goes live very quickly. So, good morning, baby sharks, and welcome to today's live. We're going to be talking about rich thinking to grow and making $10,000 in 10 days. And a lot of people are like, yeah, that's just the regular bank account balance. And a lot of people are going to look at me and go, but that's not even possible. And that's why we're here. Welcome, Karine and Katherine and Karen. And I feel like I'm the odd man out with the H name instead of a K name.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Welcome, everybody.
My name was supposed to start with a C, but because I'm supposed to be named after my grandmother, but they always called her Kathleen instead of Katherine, and they never knew it was a C. They thought it was a K. So I could tell you that I love the letter C because C lets you see, S-E-E. And, well, Haley starts like, hello. So thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty exciting.
I almost got named Cornelia.
I love that name.
It was
I
my
never heard that name.
Great grandmother's name, Cornelia. Yeah. So yeah, I'll take the Haley though. Cornelia would have been a little bit harder to deal with as a child.
Well, talking about that, as a child, we're teased about our names. I remember choosing the name. Well, it was an easy one for my son, but when everybody wanted to volunteer their opinion on what his name could be, it was always like, you have to worry that he's going to get teased. Well, we don't have to worry because he's going to be named after my grandfather and the name William, David William Lewis. But
Katherine, sorry. I was going to say when I have 4 children, and when I said the same thing, we have to make sure they won't get teased when we were picking names. Meanwhile, my last name, thanks to my husband, has Wart in it. So I was like, guaranteed they're going to get teased regardless of what their first name is. So we kind of went off track a little bit. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you didn't. And it's actually on point because it's what happens to somebody when they're teased. It becomes a thought in their subconscious that they're not even aware of. And later, like I never realized that I was not very tall until I was 36 and somebody made me aware of it. Like my 2 friends were 5'9" and 10, and I was 4'11". So you could just imagine standing between them. And you think that I would be affected? No, because my mother made me feel like I was a giant. So what do you mean I'm short? Serious? All in the thoughts, right? So
I'm excited to dive in and talk about this. I'm really, for the first time, for anybody that hasn't read this book, I haven't read this book. I am reading it along this journey that I'm on with Katherine and Karen right now. And they've been, well, they'll talk about it a little bit too, but we're talking about this book today and about desire, the chapter on desire, right? Katherine and Karen and Haley too, you're on this journey with us.
Yeah, that's the one. And last week we left off, and Karen, maybe you can reference, we didn't get to go into that 50-cent lesson, which is such an important one.
Yeah, for sure. So we're talking about the 50-cent lesson in persistence, and it has to do with Mr. Darby. And there was a young girl who was one of the people who was in his community, I can't even think of what it's called. She came into his workshop and she wanted 50 cents for her mother. Her mother needed that 50 cents. And in those days, in 1937, there was not going to be a child who was going to come and insist to a man of affluence and a man of authority that she was going to get his 50 cents and she wasn't going to be leaving with it. That was very, very cheeky. And she was extremely determined and she would not leave without the 50 cents. So she first asked him, I need that 50 cents for my mama. And he said, yeah, I'll get it to you. And she kept standing there and she waited. And then she became more insistent and more demanding until finally he gave her the 50 cents so that she would leave. again, in those days, that's not how things happened, and that's not how things went. So it was really a great lesson in persistence, and it also was a great way to show the example that no doesn't always necessarily mean no, and anybody in sales knows that as well.
You know, the line that I love the most is, the child took the money and slowly backed towards the door, never taking her eyes off the man whom she had just conquered.
Wow.
I love that.
Yes. It's a great line. And, you know, and Ford said, you know, Ford wanted that motor, and well, can't do it, can't do it. And we can think of John F. Kennedy going to the moon, and it didn't work that way. Produce it anyway. And stay on the job until you succeed, no matter how much time is required. And
Yeah.
that's very important for us right now, because like Nike's tagline, just do it. Like, it's a no-brainer. Haley's running a 10K challenge. And like, really, well, I don't think I can make 10K, or oh, I'm already doing that. I don't care what your state is right now. The truth is, oh, I've done it before. Well, no matter what you've done, you haven't done it the same way as
Right.
you're going to do it Monday.
You move the dial forward.
Move the dial, right? And it speaks to that, the persistence, because somebody say, oh, I've been trying. Perfect. Then you're right on track. Keep trying. Like, you know, you're just beginning is what it really is about. So, Haley, you may want to talk to the 10K before we move on to what Henley said.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 10-day challenge, and we're challenging you to make $10,000 in 10 days. And a lot of people are like, what? We give you a lot of the tools. We work with you on your product and your sales offerings. We offer accountability, you know, some coaching, some networking to help you meet people, all the things that are going to help you move the needle forward. And, you know, even if you don't make $10,000, you're going to either put a foundation in place to be able to do it next time, or you're going to make more money than you would otherwise, because there's so many of these components already here waiting for you.
And I want to share that with my cup, by the way, because this is exactly what you think you become. So if you think you can't make the money, well, Haley, you may not like what I'm going to say. Don't waste your time. Don't waste Haley's time, because she's going to show you how to do it. So then my cup says, what you feel you attract. You're in the right room, eh? If you feel you can do it, you show up, you'll attract it, because they're going to help you. And what you imagine, you create. And it's, you know, that's what we talk about all the time at Sage. Imagination, creating.
Mm-hmm. Can I just add two things there before we move on to our next point? Haley, just before we got on here, you said that two things that were really important. One, how much does your 10K in 10 days cost people?
Nothing.
I think it's free. It's free. Like, it's crazy. You get 10 days worth of guidance for free. Like, it is unheard of. And then the other thing that's unheard of is we often get told, you know, oh, if you just do this, you'll make this amount of money. And and sometimes you think, well, does it really happen? Do people really do it? And you have the answer from your experience of doing this 10K in 10 days. What have you heard?
So, you know, it's really interesting. The people that participated last time all made money, or put foundations in place to make money, like completely changing their business model, Kim. And then, you know, there were a number of people. We had about 20 or 30 people in the last challenge that actually made $10,000 in 10 days. And given that we only had about 150 people registered and only about 75 participating, the fact that we had that high of a percentage of people actually hit the goal or go flying past it was amazing.
It's amazing. Congratulations. You have affected people's lives that way. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And you know what?
Make more money.
Thinking, right? Like, for me, it's all about thinking. And I feel we're going to talk about the challenge again in a couple of minutes. I think somebody's asking what the challenge is, and we're going to talk
It's
about
a 10-day,
it.
10K challenge. Yeah.
10K.
You can find it at wen.org, WEN.org. While we're talking.
No, not WEN. No. Women's Entrepreneur Network.
Sorry, it was my shorthand in my notes. Sorry about that. Women's Entrepreneur Network.org.
So,
and then /10-day, 10K is the link. Or I've posted it in the chat.
Awesome.
You know, it's very interesting because what we're going to talk about today is a dollar value, setting a dollar value. So it's interesting that we're talking about the 10K 10-day, because before we leave this morning, we will be sharing that philosophy from Napoleon Hill. So, you know, Henley wrote, "We are the master of our fate, the captains of our soul, because we have the power to control our thoughts." That's very powerful. We must magnetize our minds with intense desire for riches, that we must become money conscious. And what Haley's bringing, and people are very uncomfortable with. I know I did a challenge with Karine at Sage, and what we did was fall in love with money. So if you're sitting here right now, I'm going to hint for you. I love $10,000. I love $10,000. I would love that in my bank account. If I have $1 million or if I have $1, doesn't matter, because I'm money conscious and I love money, and there's nothing wrong with money. So, you know, 10-day, 10K. If you're at 10K, start thinking about a bigger amount of money. Whatever your number is irrelevant, and we'll go into that in a few minutes. But what are your thoughts? Do you think you're a king or a queen? Do you think you're deserving of $10,000? Do you think you deserve that? Do you think you deserve $1 million? Or do you think you get what you deserve, and what you think you deserve is $1? Wow, that's a mouthful. Maybe somebody else can share with that on.
Well, I think you're getting to the part about how Napoleon Hill said that he wrote about people whose their thoughts were as if they were kings. It's kind of that my tattoo that I have on my wrist, which is live as if. So you want to embrace that mentality that you already have these things, right?
Yeah, to be money conscious is the mind has become so thoroughly saturated with the desire for money that one can see oneself already in possession of it. So that's exactly what you're saying, Karine. That's a quote from the book, by the way.
And that's what it is. Like, the book we're referring to is Think and Grow Rich. And I really don't want to get off track and talk about the journey. Next week, we can talk about the journey that I'm on. Really, today, it's about money conscious, knowing what you want, and not missing opportunities when they fly by you. And this one, I'd love to know the excuses why you can't participate in it. Like, that would be great. So say, oh, I don't have the time. No, you can't afford not to have the time. Oh, I don't have the money. Well, it's free. Oh, I don't. It's happening when I'm not available.
I'll use another common one that I hear, which is I'm not ready. I don't have everything. And this is one of my favorite things that I've learned from Karen. What's it called, Karen? It's messy.
Messy action.
Messy action. Thank you. That's how new it is, this concept to me. I can't quite remember the concept's name, but basically I was one of those people where I was like, I'm not ready because I don't have everything. I don't have my office. It's not organized yet. I don't have all my notebooks perfectly figured out as to how I'm going to, keep track of all of my progress. I don't have the back end ready. I don't have my website ready. I don't have I'm not ready. And that is like the greatest excuse, because you can always have it. But until you just accept you're going to take messy action, might not be perfect, but you're going to actually move forward towards your goal.
Yeah.
And
even baby steps is moving forward.
Right.
Just tiny little steps. Some days you're going to move forward in leaps and bounds, and other days you're going to feel like, no, I got to crawl today. And that's okay.
So did any of us read the book is the question. Haley, what's the journey I'm on? Maybe you could share that with people, because, of course, yeah, read it. I guess I have to show the book, eh?
You have to show the book now.
Have I read the book? This is the 1960 version. I'm 64. I was introduced to it in my 20s. And I didn't want to read it when I was in my 20s because it's small print and I was wasting time because I was in a commission job and I did not feel it was worth it. But the truth is, I thought I knew it. I thought I knew what was there. And I read the Law of Success. And now I can't believe the journey. I can't.
Katherine, how many times have you read it, do you think?
This one I probably read 10 times. And I'm glad I don't read this one anymore because the print is so small. This one I bought 3 years ago when I founded the book club. And I can tell you it's fallen apart already. I probably read, in book club, we've read it, what, 3-4 times?
Yes.
Okay, just in book club.
And Katherine also is going through certification.
With the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not studying Think and Grow Rich. And I can't wait till we do our goal setting. Somewhere in the fall, we're going to do a goal setting workshop. And Haley, I think I'd like to talk to you further on it because I know Carrie does goal setting. I know you do goal setting. I know a lot of people do goal setting. My mouth is, I am today studying. That's what I do. And I study at least 2 hours a day, the Napoleon Hill. I have an exam to write. So I'm really up against the clock to write that exam. But I will say that they take the 17 principles of success that is part of the positive mental attitude certification process for Napoleon Hill in Wise, Virginia. And they take goal setting to a whole new level. I thought I understood goal setting. I do understand goal setting. I mean, I studied from Zig Ziglar himself. I mean, I studied Bob Proctor from his right-hand person and Brian Proctor. And I'm sitting here saying, oh my, like when you talk to Napoleon Hill's grandson, who decides, any of you that have an excuse for what you're not doing, 47 years old, he decides to be a doctor. Who does that? Who, not a doctor in what he's worked with, like a doctor in philosophy or a doctor in something he was an expert, not a PhD, a medical doctor. So I'm blown away with that. I really am. So I really want to get to the key points today, which is I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to go into business with him. He didn't say, can I please go into business with you? Can I please make $10,000? I'd really love to have a trip. He didn't say that. He demanded it. I'd love to hear what you all have to say about that.
I'm here to put him on notice.
On notice.
Yeah, it wasn't like he said, I'm going to apply for a job or I hope to someday work with him. Nope, he's putting him on notice. I feel like I maybe did this with my husband.
I do it regularly. I don't know what to say. I guess I did read the book young enough to catch it, even though I didn't. I live the philosophies today. It's very easy for me. I live them. It's part of waking up in the day, which, like, I can't even. When I read this book, because I was forced to, reluctantly, we had to, and we're going to show you that today we're going to talk about those 6 steps. The first step is pick an amount of money. Haley's doing a similar thing. She's saying 10K. She could have said 100K. She could have said 1K. She picked that number for whatever reason. But you know what? I was told and I had to come up with a number. So I want you to imagine being 26 years old in a room full of men in commercial real estate. Weren't very many women. The only other woman was my partner, my sister in real estate. I've been in real estate for over 35 years. And we walk in the room and they're telling us what we're going to do. I have a little bit of attitude. I have no problem with the demand part. Learned that young. But I do have a problem, have to read this fine print. Waste of time, not going to make money for me when I'm on commission. I fought. I read. I had to say, pick a number. So I want you to imagine the attitude. Okay, I'll pick a number, $50,000. I didn't pick 50 to start with. I picked a lower number and the guy said, you're in real estate. Where are you getting that number from? I said, well, it's 6 months. How am I going to make that? Pick a number. Okay, 50,000. And you know what? 6 months to the day, I had $50,000 in my bank account. I mean, remember what I said. First off, I'm 64. So my 50,000 was a lot of money. And remember, I did it reluctantly and I was only 26 years old in a brand new job. So if I could do that, I'm wondering what all these entrepreneurs in this community is going to do. But you know what? It was a thought that I had to implant in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, I think you have something you can add on that.
Well, I mean, I think we were going to talk also about burning your bridges behind you and saying there is just forward and no backwards. Just because you just want to go forward and there is no backwards doesn't mean that you have to quit your day job, and doesn't mean that you have to stop whatever you're doing. If your day job is what puts money on the table for you and for your family and supports your life, then you can still work towards the other goal at the same time. But there's still no going backwards. If that's your goal, you want your money goal. So if you have a day job and you're working towards opening your own business or starting your own business, that day job or that other regular salary that you have may be the means and the tool that you have to get you courses or to finance your other business temporarily. So all of this doesn't mean that you have to stop something else. It just means burn your bridges behind you and don't go backwards. Keep pushing forward.
Right. But at the same time, don't necessarily go making really stupid decisions.
Correct.
Like jumping off the side of a cliff and hoping that you'll figure out how to get that parachute on your back.
Well, for some people that might be a good way, but I that's not what I recommend.
I mean, I do it to some extent, but it's usually like a short cliff where I'll survive the fall.
Yeah,
calculated risk.
And I think everybody kind of has their way and everybody knows themselves. And for some people that may be fantastic, but when you've got commitments and you have a family to feed, you don't want to put those things in peril either. So that's pretty important to keep in mind.
I think that's a great message, because there's a lot of people that has an entrepreneur they start, it's a side gig or it's something they hope to be big, and they hear from a consultant maybe, or they read the book and they misinterpret something. Positive thinking and the law of attraction. Law of attraction is just thinking it's going to show up. Law of attraction is only part of a second law, which is the primary law, as Bob Proctor teaches well, was the law of vibration, which is the law of action, right? What are you doing? And that's why, they say, no, I read it. If I create a goal card and I read it, it's in chapter 1 on desire, point number 6, read it in the morning, read it at night, and it's going to come. Well, wait a minute. You've read one point of a huge book. Mm-hmm. The bottom line is if your business, what did we say last week? When money comes, in the book, it said that it comes so fast, but you have to get in momentum. And momentum and opportunities. Every opportunity you have that you're not in danger. Invest in you. Mm-hmm. Invest in you. And what I mean is invest your time. Mm-hmm. So like if you're coming to the 10K challenge and what you want to do is just be told what to do, wrong challenge. Wrong place, wrong team, wrong people. We want you to succeed, each and every one of us, which means we're not going to tell you have nothing to do. We're going to give you models that work. We're going to share concepts that are proven success concepts, and we're walking the talk, and we're talking the walk. So the thing is if you wanted the easy way, it's not the right place. But if you want to succeed, you're in the absolute right place, because we know how to help you.
You need to put your energy in there, and you need to take the steps.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Yes.
And we promise that will be a half hour. There's a lot we didn't cover that we'd love to cover, but it's an ongoing process. This is open every Friday at 10 a.m. to talk about Think and Grow Rich and its concepts. But more than that, I'm studying Napoleon Hill. So we're bringing that part. And then we're bringing each of our expertise and our understanding of these. So
Yes.
thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Thank you, guys.
Wait. Anybody have anything to finally say?
Register for the challenge.
I'm making.
I dare you. What do you have to lose? I mean, like, seriously, a couple hours.
That's my favorite phrase right now. It doesn't cost anything. Literally, you have nothing to lose.
Right? If you're not making a ton of money already in your business, you've got nothing
And next
to lose,
week when you come
except
back,
spending time with me.
Well, that's not so hard to do, Haley. But the 10K, you picked the number 10K. The first step in the chapter of setting a goal is to determine the number. Haley just made it easy. You can cheat. Take her 10K, borrow it from her. But you know what? Next week, we're going to talk about those 6 steps. And you'll be in the middle of the challenge. And I've succeeded making, I'm make more than that. And I'm in the challenge. And I can tell you, my life is changing. And I don't see why, it's funny how that happens. And the attitude is, if you can make $50 million, and I'm studying all of this, and I really want to help people, and I have all this experience, there's a lot more. So don't let the 10K number impress you or unimpress you. It's just a number.
True.
So.
Very true.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you,
you.
Haley. Thank you,
Bye.
I hope to see everybody there.
See you soon.
I'm there.
Happy Friday.
I'm going.
Bar's open. I'm having a Dr. Pepper.
Have
Cheers.
fun.